Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 for the News First, the voice of the people. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon. Construction of the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Port commences. There is a possibility of obtaining a new loan from China for the country's debt restructuring purposes, says CBSL Governor Ajit Niwad Kabra. Hungarian Foreign Minister arrives in Sri Lanka. Who cut off the electricity when I said no? An inquiry by the minister in charge. Power outages to be experienced tonight as well. Suspects in connection to the hand grenade found in a church in Borella arrested by the Colombo Crimes Division. On to your top story this afternoon. Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Ajit Niwad Kabra, says there is a possibility of obtaining a new loan from China for the country's debt restructuring purposes. He said Sri Lanka has an understanding with China that they would assist Sri Lanka in making the repayments.
Actually, with China, we have a very good understanding about our debt as well as debt repayment as well as investments. In this instance, the assistance that have been sought may have been connected to the debt repayments that we are having. But it is only with regard to China's transactions. We have an understanding with China that they would assist us in making the repayments in that form. So maybe there is a possibility that we would have a new loan coming from China in order to cushion the effect of our debt repayments to China itself. So that's something that we would like to explore, and maybe we will do that in the future as well. So it is to cushion the debt repayments to China that we would try to negotiate a new loan for that purpose, as well as for any other purposes as well. As you know, China is one country that we import heavily from to China, and we have a good understanding as far as imports are concerned. India is another country that we have a lot of imports from. We are also negotiating with India to have a $1 billion facility with India in order to import goods from India. So it's a kind of a arrangement that would encourage us as well as help us to make repayments to those countries, and at the same time promote more trade between the two countries as well.
Governor, what is the amount? Governor, what is the amount of new loan that you expect from China? Do you have any ballpark number?
No, not at the moment. We will announce that in due course after the negotiations as well as discussions reach a reasonable level of fruition. We will announce that at that stage.
A delegation including Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó arrived in the island this morning on an official visit. He was welcomed at the Katonaika International Airport by State Minister of International Cooperation Taraka Balasurya. During the one-day official visit, the Hungarian Foreign Minister will engage in several bilateral discussions as well. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Power says power cuts are likely to take place as per the schedule in the evening hours today. Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Power, Sugat Dharmakirti, said the repair activities of the private power station which suffered a breakdown at the Kalnitissa power plant complex are still being carried out. Accordingly, the power cuts will be imposed between 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. as per the schedule.
The breakdown in Kalnitissa yesterday was unexpected. As a result, we had imposed an unplanned power cut. By this evening, we will get to know the magnitude of the issue and the time to fix the issue. And if there is a requirement to impose power cuts, it will be performed based on the schedule that was published earlier. We are expecting to resolve the issues as soon as possible and provide uninterrupted power supply to the public. Due to the technical issues experienced at the power plant, the power supply was interrupted in several areas of the country yesterday as well.
In one of a headline-making stories, Sri Lanka police say the 3 suspects arrested in connection with the discovery of a hand grenade at the All Saints Church in Borella are currently being interrogated. Police said the suspects are in the custody of the Colombo Criminal Investigations Department.
The hand grenade was discovered near the statue to the right of the main entrance to the church at around 4:45 p.m. yesterday. According to our correspondent, the hand grenade was discovered after a devotee who visited the church and witnessed it informed the Reverend Father regarding the matter. Thereafter, police, the Special Task Force and the Bomb Disposal Squad were summoned to the location. Police spokesperson Attorney at Law SSP Nihal Talduwa said the main suspect who placed the hand grenade at the church premises was also among 3 suspects who were arrested in connection with the incident. Our correspondent reported that a group of people who were attending to church matters at the time were also taken for questioning.
The construction work on the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Port commenced under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa.
With the planned construction beginning today, the length of the eastern terminal will increase to 1,320 meters and has been scheduled to complete on the 4th of July 2024. Secretary to the Ministry of Ports, UDC Jayalal, said the project costs $500 million.
නැගෙනහිර පර්යන්තේ වැඩ සුබ මොහොතින් ආරම්භ කරන වගයි.
The first phase of the terminal is scheduled to be completed on the 4th of July next year, and the section will span over 600 meters. In the first phase, 6 STS cranes and 2 ARMG cranes will be installed at the eastern terminal. Once completed, the terminal will consist of 12 giant cranes and 40 normal cranes.
ජනාධිපතිතුමනි බටහිර පර්යන්තය රාජ්‍ය අනිකුත් හවුල් ව්‍යාපාරයක් හැටියට අපි බටහිර පර්යන්තයේ වැඩ.
Mr. President, we will begin construction of the West Terminal in February. The government will be a joint venture with the private sector. Our operational capacity will increase up to 14 million. Mr. President, you will receive the honor of taking our Colombo port from being 23rd in the world to number 13.
13 වන ස්ථානයට ගෙනීම ඒ ගෞරව හිමි වෙන්නේ ඔබතුමාට අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමනි.
සමහරව ආනවා මේ වගේ අමාරු කාලයක මේ වගේ අමාරු වැඩක් ආරම්භ කරන්න ඇයි කියලා.
Some people ask me why we are undertaking such a difficult task at a time like this. Most of the governments that were in power took steps back in times of economic difficulty. There is no point in thinking about 2 years that went by in vain. It only matters to the opposition. It is the next 3 years that is important to the government. Those 3 years will be 3 very important years. It is not the past, but the future that we must focus on. The government cannot relive the past. We can only work towards the future. We have to accept the difficulties we are facing. We are responsible for the adversity our people are facing. We understand that prices are increasing. It is not good that people have to stay in queues to purchase goods. This government never thought of making itself feel comfortable. A government that thinks of its own benefit will not give the public concessions worth $650 million. Meanwhile, a religious observance was held near the Jamburuwela paddy field in Polonnaruwa, hoping that the authorities would pay attention to the fertilizer problem this season. A group of farmers under the Jamburuwela Bedumela Farmers Organization of the Polonnaruwa Alehara Agrarian Movement performed this religious activity near the Lord Ganesh statue in the Jamburuwela paddy field.
වහන්සේලාට පමණයි මේ අපිට වෙලා තියෙන අසාධාරණේ කියන්න තියෙන්නේ මේ පාලකයන්ගේ ඇස් පෑදෙන්න ඇස් පෑදිලා ගොවියට සෙතක් වෙන්න මේ පාලකයන් තෘෂ්ණින් භූත වෙලා මේකෙන් චුත වෙලා යන්න කියලා ගහන්න මේ පොල් ගෙඩිය. උන්ට හෙර හතව වැදෙන්න
කාබනික පිස්සුවෙන් හොඳ කරලා දීලා ගොවියට යාපතක් කරගන්න මුංගේ මේ මොළ ගොම් මොළ හොඳ මොළ බවට පරිවර්තනය කරලා දෙන්න කියලා වහන්සේගෙන් ඉල්ලන කරදී ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ.
Farmers in Makuluwa in Matale villages in the Epavala division in the Mahavali H zone are facing the threat of their crops being destroyed due to the lack of suitable fertilizer for cultivation. Farmers say they have not received any fertilizer for their crops for nearly 2 months now. Although we were promised that fertilizer will be provided for cultivation at the beginning, we have not yet received any fertilizer. Today is the 23rd day of the Satyagraha initiated by 86 farmers organizations, including Bolivar Left Bank United Farmers Organization. These farmers are engaged in a Satyagraha demanding a permanent solution to end the human-elephant conflict. In some developing story from the political sphere, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party's criticism of the government is currently being debated in the political arena. These are the views expressed by the political representatives of both the ruling party and the opposition.
The former president goes around the country holding meetings and trying to say that he holds power. Such statements are made while being in our party. The SLFP took action to overthrow the Badulla Municipal Council. We somehow corrected it. It is the same scenario all over the country. All of them are the same. There is nothing else to do than beating both the parties together. We see queues for everything. Is this the government we brought into power with celebrations has now left us in nothing but sorrow? The country is in a state of begging, but the rulers of tomorrow and the current rulers have benefited. These rulers go to China and ask them for help. China says they will give yuans. It is not timely at this time to create shortcuts to gain personal power. Intelligent citizens will not accept it. Therefore, we urge the current leaders of the Freedom Party to act in accordance with Bandaranaike's policies and not to take decisions that contradict them. What did they say during elections? We don't need food, but we need a country to live in. Today there is no food nor a country. Today the general public questions to which part they belong to, whether it is the area which belongs to America or the one that belongs to China or the one that belongs to India.
Shifting your attention to COVID-related news, Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemantha Herath says that people are making a mistake by not understanding the danger of the Omicron variant.
යම් කෙනෙක් හිතනවා නම් ඔමික්‍රොන් රෝගයේ බරපතල නැති නිසා හැදුනත් කමක් නැහැ.
If someone thinks that even if you contract the Omicron variant, it will not lead to serious conditions, it is not right, because the Omicron variant will impact people differently. It may not cause severe issues to one person. However, on the other hand, it could create complications for another person and will lead to a life-threatening situation. Since this variant reacts differently to the people, it is important that we take every measure to prevent this from spreading in the community. It will be a grave fault if we take this lightly.
අවස්ථාවකම බලන්න ඕන මේක සමාජය තුල පැතිරෙන එක අවම ලෙස අවම වන බවට වග බලා ගන්න. ඒක නොසලකා හැරීම අපි විසින් කරගන්නා බරපතල වැරද්දක් වෙනවා.
Another 15 COVID-19 deaths were confirmed by the Director General of Health Services for Monday, the 10th of January. Accordingly, this raised the total death toll in the country to 15,149. Meanwhile, 623 COVID-19 cases were identified in the country yesterday, including 4 overseas arrivals. In total, COVID-19 cases identified in the country currently stands at 593,072. The Ministry of Health has taken measures to name a COVID-19 vaccination week from the 11th to the 17th of this month. Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena stated, instructions have been provided to establish 4 additional centres for each MOH to streamline the vaccination program. From the 11th to the 17th of this month, instructions have been provided to establish 4 additional centres for each MOH to streamline the vaccination program. We have given instructions to ensure the vaccination centers at regional hospitals are open until 8 p.m. to administer the vaccines. Those who have difficulties in reaching a vaccination center can contact the area MOH office. We have provided them with the opportunities to obtain their vaccine through a mobile service operated by the MOH office. Additionally, in Colombo, there are large housing complexes. We haven't sent our mobile services in the past to those areas and expecting to send this week as well. All the vaccines, including the first dose, can be obtained by reporting to your nearest vaccination center.
The patients who arrived at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital this morning experienced severe difficulties as a result of the token strike staged by the nurses, paramedics and medical professionals.
The patient, after receiving the consultation from the doctors at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, were inconvenienced as a result of not being able to receive treatment and medicine. Those affected expressed the following views to Newsfirst. They should not inconvenience us like this. We are here because we don't have money to purchase medicine from pharmacies. We are suffering because of this. We were here all morning. We're helpless. We came to obtain medicine for our child. We don't have money. They're living good lives. We're the ones that suffer. I came here at 4 a.m.
At least inform us. We are left helpless.
My husband is a laborer. That's how we earn a living. We wouldn't come here if we had money. We are here because we don't have money. Why are they on strike? What are their demands? They should talk to the president and get their work done without inconveniencing us.
A program to distribute library books and stationery to 40 rural schools in the Amilipitiya region was organized at the Madhuvanwala Janapada Vidyalaya in Amilipitiya yesterday.
Head of the Department of Library and Information Sciences of the University of Kelaniya, Senior Professor M.K. Veerasinghe had organized this program.
What we did today was to bring a large quantity of school library books to 40 rural schools in the Amilipitiya region that is considered as a rural education zone in Sri Lanka. In fact, it is correct to say that we have distributed items worth more than 500,000 rupees. Together with various philanthropists and academics, our main objective is to save these children from this digital mafia and create a world where they associate books. Then the main purpose of this is to direct the children to read from an early age to create a knowledgeable society in Sri Lanka. A Sri Lankan researcher, Lahiru Vijayadasa, was appointed by conservation group BirdLife International to the position of Asia Forest Coordinator.
Lahiru Vijayadasa, a senior research fellow at National University of Singapore's Tropical Peatland Research Program, was appointed by conservation group BirdLife International as Asia's forest coordinator. The move marks Vijayadasa's first foray into civic society after a career in scientific research, specializing in botany and ecology. Vijayadasa was part of a team that recently discovered a new species of flowering trees in a peat swamp in Sumatra. Their new discovery marks the first new discovery of a tree in a peat swamp habitat in almost 60 years. The last peat swamp forestry was discovered in the Shoria Radusa, which was also found in Indonesia back in 1963. Lahiru's new role will involve working with partners on forest conservation projects across Asia. One of his first projects is in ecosystem restoration, working with Burung Indonesia, an Indonesian bird conservation group, and British charity Royal Society for the Protection of Birds to conserve the lowland forests of Sumatra, Indonesia.
Shifting your attention to international news, US President Joe Biden has called for a historic change to Senate rules as he seeks to overhaul the country's election laws.
In an impassioned speech, he said he supported changes that would allow his voting reforms to be passed without the support of the opposition Republicans. Misgivings from 2 senators in his party are hampering his plans, and no Republicans have backed them. Currently, a majority of 60% is needed to pass the most legislations in the Senate, and with the upper chamber of Congress split 50-50 between 2 parties, Biden's sweeping election bill are almost certain not to pass unless there is a change to that rule. The bill, the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act passed the lower chamber, the House of Representatives, last year.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV Bond. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, the voice of the people, I am Martin Satyane. So you take care and stay safe.